I actually had no idea that there was a McDonald's at Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo. I actually had no idea that there was a McDonald's at Guantanamo. I actually had no idea that there was a McDonald's at Guantanamo. I actually had no idea that there was a McDonald's at Guantanamo. I actually had no idea that there was a McDonald's at Guantanamo. There is a McDonald's at Guantanamo Bay, is what I'm trying to say. Oh my god.
Mohamedou Ould Salahi, the Mauritanian held in Guantanamo. He recruited the guys who flew your friend's plane into the South Tower.
He put those men on my husband's plane?
I'm gonna make him pay.
In the event the detainee lunges for you, push back away from the table. We'll get in there as quick as we can.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, my Glasgow Film Festival experience continues, and this time round I saw The Mauritanian, starring Jodie Foster, Tahar, Rahim and Benedict Cumberbatch. The Mauritanian recounts the true story of Mohamedou Ould Salahi, who is arrested and imprisoned at Guantanamo Bay for a total of 14 years despite never being charged for a crime. He supposedly was linked as the lead recruiter working with Al-Qaeda to plan and execute the events of 9/11. But when Jodie Foster's humanitarian lawyer discovers his case, she begins to unearth multiple levels of conspiracy. I love a good old-fashioned legal drama as much as the next person, and The Mauritanian looked very promising. Intriguing premise, great cast, big fan of the director Kevin Macdonald, but it's pretty by the numbers. I think the biggest problem was that despite the overarching story being one of great interest to me, the approach that the director and screenwriters took, it failed to bring me in. I wasn't gripped at all. A lot of the plot meanders about, never really fully diving into Salahi's ordeal at the hands of his prison guard officers and the interrogators, and when they do eventually get to it, and whilst it is presented in an unrelenting fashion, I thought it was a bit too little too late. Most of the time it's kind of messy, flitting back and forth between Jodie Foster investigating Salahi's case and Salahi's initial experience in custody. The revelations that follow are shocking, but never felt like a complete narrative, more like this was kind of a docudrama. For example, there was a general overview of how much America was still hurting after the events of 9/11, that they were willing to point the finger of blame at anyone so long as it would ease the pain, and they only scraped the surface of that subject. I felt like they could have explored that point much, much further, especially how divided America is that we see today. Thankfully though, the unfocused plot is somewhat redeemed by an outstanding performance by Tahar Rahim, who so expertly balances Salahi's humanity alongside how far he was driven to the edge. Jodie Foster could do this type of performance in her sleep, and she's good, but her character feels so underdeveloped. I understand that this isn't necessarily her story to tell, but her as a character, she just feels so bland and generic. As does Shailene Woodley, as a fellow defense lawyer who very much personifies the weight of the case that they're involving themselves with, but other than that, there's nothing to her. As for Cumberbatch, his accent in the film, it's a choice. Again though, his performance is fine, but it's nothing that is going to define his career for years to come. I just don't really think I'm going to remember The Mauritanian all that much, which is a shame because Salahi's story definitely does deserve to be told. Macdonald competently directs the film, and Rahim is the best reason I can give to watch it, but ultimately I did feel as if I was skimming through a SparkNotes summary of the events rather than diving into the juicy details. So overall, I'm going to give The Mauritanian a 5.5 out of 10. So, those are my thoughts on The Mauritanian. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? Is it something that you're looking forward to? I know it's come out in some countries. I think it's just been released in the States. I believe its UK release is on the April 1st. this year. It's going on to Prime Video, so feel free to check it out if that sounds interesting to you. I just found it somewhat underwhelming. And seeing as Benedict Cumberbatch's accent is definitely, it's not great. I want to know, my question to you is, what do you think is the worst accent in movie history? I think I'd have to go with Don Cheadle's Cockney accent in the Ocean's trilogy. I mean, bless him. He tried. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.